Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. So today I'm going to prove to you that finding yourself is not just a hippie phrase. All right, I'm wearing my hippie dress today to prove a point, but finding yourself is a really important emotional and psychological task, especially when you've been exposed to toxic narcissists. When we step into narcissistic exposure or relationships with toxic narcissists, what happens is we begin to rely on making sure they get everything they need, whether in work relationships or personal relationships. Our lives and our livelihoods depend on making sure that their world is perfect because that's what they demand of us. And unfortunately, as we've been talking, here for the last few weeks, unfortunately, if you lose a step, if you aren't doing just everything you need to do to make sure that they are feeling great and are happy with their world, they become pretty nasty to be around, frankly. And so slowly but surely, we acclimate to their truth and their reality, and we begin to lose sight of our own. And eventually, we lose sight of who we are in the relationship. One of the phrases we often hear is, I lost myself in that relationship. This is what we're talking about. So the finding yourself outside of the relationship becomes ultra important to recovering after you've been exposed to toxic narcissism. So let's look at it from maybe a kind of a step-by-step process, which is what we do when you work with me. So the first thing that I can encourage you to do is, number one, take time away from the narcissist. That seems dumb, right? Stop, doctor, it hurts when I do this. Stop doing this, right? So if you can exit, if you can get time away from the toxic narcissist, that is key in that first step to finding yourself again. The second step is, take a moment and take a breath. Okay, did the breath come from your lungs or from your diaphragm? Did you feel it like up here by your heart, or did you feel it more towards your belly? If it's kind of up near your heart, try taking a deeper breath. Let go of those stomach muscles. Breathe all the way down into your belly. Okay, now take sight of where in your belly you felt that breath. And let's for a moment call that your core. All right, next thing you're going to try. Imagine going down into that core, and imagine that core is the middle of a bubble. And that bubble is your bubble. Imagine if you were inside that bubble and you expanded your bubble with every breath. So inhale, and as you exhale, your bubble gets bigger and bigger until your bubble is safely around you, okay? And once that bubble is safely around you, you exist inside the bubble. Nobody else is invited into the bubble unless you say so. So number one, you've stepped away from your toxic narcissist, even if it's for an hour at a time. Number two, you've breathed into your body so you can feel your core. Number three, you've expanded that bubble so that you now sit inside the sanctuary bubble. Number four, allow yourself, as you're sitting in that bubble, to go back in time, a time before that narcissist existed for you, and remember any moment in which you felt good, in which you felt happy. If you had a hobby, if you were in another relationship, if you were raising children, if you were at the art store, if you were in the library, if you were flying on a plane or on a trip, just remember any time that existed before you began this exposure to this toxic narcissist, and in which you felt peaceful, happy, joyful. And just breathe into that. Just spend time remembering that. All right, tip 5. Do that every day. Go to that space in which you feel better outside of the relationship with the toxic narcissist. All right, well, that's 5 steps to learning what it's like to be in your own truth, in your own story, in your own life, and away from the toxic narcissist. Part of finding yourself is finding out who you were before. And what we do in the rose system is that we not only help you exit, and many of you have already exited these relationships, but are somehow continue to be sort of magnetically drawn to the toxic narcissist, or considering going back to them, or going back to other people just like them. And so we realize there's still an anchor in place, right? So not only do we help you get separate, we help you re-find your core, then we help you look for what those anchors are, and we unhook them item by item, so that you can begin to experience life without the feeling like you're gonna land back with that narcissist again, or return to go to another relationship or another job with another narcissist. Even if we have to really travel far back in time, we'll find the hooks, we'll find those anchors so that they are not keeping you in place anymore, because you deserve more. You deserve to feel who you are. And some people have never found themselves. They feel like they've always, they were raised by narcissists, or they've always been in this pattern. And so it can be very illuminating when you discover that, and we unleash that final anchor, and we look around and you're like, I don't know. I have no idea who I am. And then, we try the Runaway Bride routine. Runaway Bride, a really cute movie. But, what we saw was just a woman who didn't really know herself very well, and we don't know a lot about her past. It could be that she was raised by a toxic narcissist. We don't know. But what she just determined was that every time she got in a relationship, she would morph herself to be like her partner, to the extent that she liked all kinds of eggs. But when somebody finally asked her, well, what kind of eggs do you like best? She had no idea. She had to make 4 plates full of eggs to see what did she like best. And so sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to begin sampling and experimenting to help you determine, who are you? What do you enjoy? What are your truths? And we do that until there is a resonance that makes sense for you, and that you begin to feel the kind of joy that we can experience when we're really in our core, and when we have restored our old souls right back into the driver's seat. So whether you're in the Runaway Bride position, whether you're just kind of feeling lost and may never have known who you are and kind of trying to find yourself for those reasons, or whether you have been in a position where you've been morphing yourself so much for so long that you don't even remember who you are, then it's time for us to get started on helping you remember, reconnect to who you really are. And in the process, you get to find yourself, hippie or not. This is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays.